kiddos, so this is your value scale tutorial. This is going to be how you will do your stippling, cross-hatching, and hatching. So the first thing that we want to do is kind of set it up to get ready to work with. You can use a ruler or a straight edge. I'm not super picky on the size as long as it's big enough for you to work in. Again, this does not have to be nice and neat and super duper perfect. You can see that I use a straight edge just to kind of help get mine roughly to the same size, but I don't want this to be something that takes you forever. I'm looking more for the fact that you know how to do a value scale and you know what the difference between crossing, hatching, and stippling is. So, boom, there's our rectangles. The first one that I'm going to show you is going to be for hatching. So I'm going to write that right here. And I want you guys to have at least 6 boxes in here. If you have more, that is a-okay. But no fewer than 6. So again, I'm just kind of drawing these on there quick for the sake of time. If you want to make yours nicer and neater, go for it. The first thing that we're going to do is determine which way our scale is going. I'm going to make mine going from light to dark. My first square I want to be completely white. My last square I want it to be completely black. And then we'll have several other colors in between there. So with the hatching, those were the sets of parallel lines. I'm going to pick a direction. I think I'm going to have mine all go kind of pointing up to this left corner. So I'm going to start, I like to start here kind of in one of the middle boxes. And they're not going, I want you to notice that my lines are relatively short. They're not going all the way from one side of this square to the other. They're just these short little lines and they kind of all point up to that left direction. As I moved left and right, they're going to get farther apart as I move left and closer together as I move right. So when I'm going left, do you see how now these lines are farther apart? There's fewer lines here. If I move left even more, I should have fewer than I had in this box. So the color is going to start to look lighter as I move left, and consequently as I move right and start to add more lines, it's going to start to look darker. I'm not working in exactly perfect lines because I don't want it to be super stripy. But you can see I've put a layer here. It has a little bit more lines. Just to make it slightly more obvious, I'm going to add kind of another layer in between here. So that we can clearly see that this one has more lines than that one. And then for our last one, I'm really going to be layering up these lines. There's still those short little lines, but we have kind of one layer, but it looks really close to this layer next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put another layer directly over this one. I want it to be obvious that this one is the darkest one. So I'm not just coloring it in. I am still doing those hatch lines. If you're using a Sharpie, it goes quick. And boom, there we have it. If your gradient looks really kind of extreme, like I feel like ours here, it goes light, pretty light, pretty light, pretty light, a little bit darker, and then black. You can kind of work backwards from here to make yours so that it should ultimately look like a gradient. It should almost look like a little descending staircase into this darker color. So again, I'm working to kind of make this a little bit more tapered. Do we see how I added a little bit to these 3 boxes, so now it has kind of a smoother transition? Well, that is your intro to value scales for hatching.